Ayubowan. It is Sunday and we are at the home of the Institute of Ayurveda and Alternative Medicine, Barberyn's own institute. And we are at this beautiful old house, which is the home. And in this place, we do research. We have like a free community clinic. We make medicine. And this week, our doctors are very busy making a special medicine, an immunity enhancing beverage, which the government, the Department of Ayurveda has formulated, and which Barberyn has been given approval along with a few other companies to manufacture. Today's webinar, we thought, will be in two parts because we want to give you the ambience of two parts of this house. The first part, where we will chant, I will chant, you will chant, we will try to chant together, is in the little shrine room which is in the middle of the house. 100 years ago, my grandmother wanted this place built, and she declared that every day the symbolic Buddha Puja will be offered in the shrine room. And she spent time in this place. And my aunt who came after her, who had the house, also spent time in the shrine room. And then after a period of lapsed period, we are back in this house again. And now I have the privilege, along with my sister, Kamini, to spend time here, and Deepthi, my other sister, who is a dental surgeon. So the three of us also spend time in this house and in this shrine room. So to begin, we will chant the 3 lines that Buddhists, wherever they are, always chant before any spiritual activity, asking for the refuge of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. And this, the scripture tells us, is a very meritorious act. It is an act that brings you blessings of the gods. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Repeat after me. Listen carefully and repeat after me. Buddhang saranang gacchami. And let us repeat it together. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Next line. Dhammang saranang gacchami. I take refuge in the Dhamma. Repeat after me. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Let's repeat it together. Dhammang saranang gacchami. And the third line. Sanghang saranang gacchami. I take refuge in the Sangha. Repeat after me. Sanghang saranang gacchami. And let's repeat together. Sanghang saranang gacchami. And now I will recite for you the Maha Mangala Suta. Buddhists in Sri Lanka often chant 3 suttas. The Maha Mangala Sutta, where the Buddha explained the blessings of life, the Ratana Sutra, the power of the triple gem, which you have heard before, and the Karaniya Metta Sutra, Maitri, the sutta on loving kindness. Today we will chant the Maha Mangala Sutta. And in each of these sutta, there is a little preamble where we are told where this happened. And it all starts with Evang me sutang ekang samayang bhagava. That is, once upon a time, the Buddha was staying in a certain place. Every sutta in the Tripitaka, thousands of suttas, they all say where the location is. And I was thinking to myself, the location must be important. And very often, these suttas were recited when the Buddha was in one of his favorite places, Jetavanaramaya in South in India. I will tell you in Pali, which is the language in which the Buddha recited, in which the Buddha preached his Dhamma. It was the loveliest, the lowest of language without a script. And I will also tell you the meaning in English. Evang me sutang ekang samayang bhagava savattiyang viharati jetavane anatha pindikassa arame atako anyatara devata abhikkantaya rattiya abhikkantavanna kevala kappam jetavanang ubasetva yena bhagava upasankamitva bhagavantang abhivadetva ekamantang attasi ekamantandita kosa devata bhagavantang gataya ajjabasi. On one occasion, the Exalted One was dwelling at Anathapindika's monastery in Savatthi. Now, when the night was fast spent, a certain deity whose surpassing splendor illuminated the entire Jetavana grove of trees came to the presence of the Exalted One and, drawing near, respectfully saluted him and stood to one side. Standing thus, he addressed the Exalted One in verse. Bahudeva manussacha mangalani achinchayung akankamana sottanang bruhi mangalamuttamang. Many deities and men yearning after good have pondered on the blessings of life. Pray tell me, what are the blessings of life? Asevanacha balanang panditanancha sevana pujacha pujaniyanang etang mangalamuttamang. Not to associate with the foolish, but to associate with the wise, and to honor those who are worthy of honor. This is the greatest blessing. Patirupadesawasocha pubbeta kacha punyata atta samma panidita etam mangalamuttamang. To have much learning, to be skillful in handicraft, well trained in discipline, and to be good in one's speech. This is the greatest blessing. Mata pitu upattanang puttadarasa sanyaho anakula chakammanta etang mangalamuttamang. To support mother and father, to cherish wife and children, and to engage in peaceful occupation. This is the greatest blessing. Dhanancha dhammacharyacha jnatakanancha sanyaho anavajjani kammani etam mangalamuttamang. To be generous in giving, to be righteous in conduct, to help one's relatives, and to be blameless in action. This is the greatest blessing. Arati virati papa majjipana cha sanyamo appamado cha dhammesu etam mangalamuttamang. To loathe evil and abstain from it, to refrain from intoxicants, and to be steadfast in virtue. This is the greatest blessing. Garavocha nivatocha santutticha katanyuta kalena dhamma savanang etam mangalamuttamang. To be respectful, humble, contented, and grateful, and to listen to the Dhamma on due occasions. This is the greatest blessings of life. Kanti cha sovachassata samananancha dassanang kalena dhamma sakaccha etang mangalamuttamang. To be patient, obedient, to associate with monks, and to have religious and spiritual discussions on due occasions. This is the blessing of life. Tapocha brahmacharyacha arya satchana dassanang nibbana satchikiriyacha etam mangalamuttamang. Self-restraint, a holy and chaste life, the perception of the noble truths, and the realization of Nibbana. These are the blessing of life. Puttasya loka dhammehi chittang yassana kampati asokang virajang kemang etam mangalamuttamang. A mind unruffled by the vagaries of fortune, from sorrow freed, from defilements cleansed, from fear liberated. This is the greatest blessing. And you will see that all these blessings are sequential, in sequence. And if one can try and practice these blessings, then the last one will become possible. The last stanza is my favorite. So I will repeat it again. Puttasya loka dhammehi chittang yassana kampati asokang virajang kemang etang mangalamuttamang. A mind unruffled by the vagaries of fortune, from sorrow freed, from defilement cleansed, from fear liberated. This is the greatest blessing. Etadisani katvana sabbatam aparajita sabbatta sotting gachanti tante sang mangalamuttamang thi. Those who thus abide ever remain invincible, in happiness established. These are the greatest blessings. So this, dear friends, is the Maha Mangala Suta, where the Buddha explained to us what are the blessings of life. And now, Geetha, who is the cinematographer today, and I will move to the drawing room of this house, which has space and light more than here, and we can do a brief meditation to bring us to one point. And so we can continue with our session and engage in some meditation. Last week in our office, each week we try to sit and do some meditation. We decided that trying to bring our mind and thoughts to one point does not need a name. So we decided that we will just sit still. And I hope you are seated somewhere comfortable. And if I were to sit and look around this place, now in the drawing room of this house, I am surprised that two ordinary people, my grandmother and grandfather, could make such an extraordinary house. The house has symmetry. It is neither small nor is it too big. And you can see a little glimpse of it. All around are large double doors. There is a glass door and a wooden door. And that's interesting. And the ceilings are high. This particular ceiling has cream and gold lacquer paint. And I'm always blessed that we could meditate, we could sit comfortably somewhere in this place. The place is important, but what is more important is what happens within us, because wherever we are can be home to us. And when we sit, if we can keep our spine straight, that is good. But if you are uncomfortable, sit wherever you can. You can even collect your thoughts and bring your mind to one point, even while lying down in the bed. And all the time, we desire sensory pleasures. So we see and we want to see beautiful things. We hear and we want to hear pleasant sounds. We smell and we love perfume. And we eat and taste and we want exquisite food. And we touch and we want a pleasurable touch. And in Buddhism, we are taught that all these desires, these sensory pleasures, lead to complications. And to eliminate them as much as possible is something that also one practices with meditation. Bringing one's thoughts, one's mind to one point. And so, in order to shut out some distractions, we can close our eyes. Close your eyes. Keep your hands comfortably on your lap or on your thighs. and let's just sit. And now, let's locate our breath. The Buddha taught many methods of meditation. And in this Samatha Bhavana, the meditation on concentration, he explained that we can focus on a large number of objects. And he said that the breath is the most neutral. And it is something that is always there. We don't need to go and search for it. We don't need to set it up. Find your breath. And if you can't find it easily, draw in a sharp breath. And you can locate it in between your nostrils. And you can feel it in your stomach. The rise with the inhalation and the lowering with the exhalation. In and out. In and out. And when you are still in your body and you focus on the breath, you find that your mind is still running around. The mind is not still. I am seated here, but even with me, my thoughts are running around. And then I bring it back. I bring back my attention to the breath so many times. And I know that each time I do that, it is a little victory. in and out. Let the thoughts come and let the thoughts go. Don't try to avoid it. Don't try to thwart it. It will become effortless with practice. In and out. Let's keep our focus on the breath. Coming from somewhere in the universe, bringing us life and going back and coming again. Breathing in and breathing out. And now I would like to suggest that we move on to the mindfulness meditation, also called insight meditation, vipassana bhavana. And in the vipassana bhavana, once we have attained a certain level of stillness of the body and our mind, we can look at more deeply into ourselves, to seek the mindfulness. And there are three things to be mindful of. We can be mindful of the body, we can be mindful of our feelings, and we can be mindful of our thoughts. So let's continue to keep our eyes closed. And first, let's feel, be mindful of our body. We have been seated for about 12-15 minutes, I think. And I can feel the hard bench on which I'm seated. A little discomfort. And while I was meditating, the thought did come, I should have thought of a cushion. That's my thoughts going all over the place. So feel your body. You're seated straight. It may be cold where you are, or it may be warm where you are. Here, where I'm seated, there's a gentle wind. If I listen closely enough, I can even feel and hear the wind. I can hear the birds chirping. We can feel and be conscious of our body. Just sit still and be aware of your body. Some of us may be in pain. Bring your attention to that pain and see if it can dissolve. And if it is still there, let's accept it for the time being. And let us move to our feelings. Although we are outwardly calm, we may still have little feelings of irritation, of anger, and it may be joy. Be aware of these feelings. You don't need to label them as good or bad. We don't need to judge ourselves. They are feelings and they are there, and we note it. And all the while, breathing in and breathing out. That's our anchor. And the advantage of being able to recognize and be aware of our irritation, frustration, is because then when it arises, we are aware of it and we can do something about it. Sometimes we are irritated with our spouse, with our child, with a co-worker, and it happens to me. And I can feel the tone of my voice, the sound of being fed up. And then I try to think, maybe my instructions weren't clear. And there are many times when I subdue my tone. And when you have practiced this mindfulness, you will be aware of your feelings as it takes place in real time. And that's what we need. And now we can bring our attention, our focus, and be mindful of our thoughts. The thoughts that come, linger, and go. And another thought comes. And imagine that you are the gatekeeper. You are observing the thoughts that come. You are not labeling them. And after a while, we realize that we are not our thoughts. These thoughts are coming and going. So anchored to our breath, breathing in and breathing out, which becomes second nature, aware that it's happening, we look at our thoughts coming and going. And gradually, as you practice, they will become less. And you can do this meditation as long as you like. And now that you know the method, when you are ready, gently open your eyes. And so I can give you a lot of detail about the value of the insight meditation, vipassana as we call it. But I think it is best that you learn and understand and experience for yourself the value. And find a little time every day to sit. Bum on the seat hours, a monk once told me. And so, from all of us in Sri Lanka, we send you greetings. It is 6 months since we first came across the COVID, the disaster that it has been. We've survived the 6 months, and we will survive the rest of the time until COVID is overcome. And when that happens, and when our airports, yours and ours, open, we are ready to receive you. And I want to thank our webinar team, and particularly Geetha, who is the one who did the lead today, for their sustained effort. It is since May, June, July, August, September. 5 months, every Sunday, we have been there. Thank you so much for joining, and have a good Sunday. Ayubowan.